Hello everyone! Thank you for coming back to my channel. Like I said, I really want to start getting more into, I guess not scheduled videos, but I really want to try and upload a lot more than I have in the past. Not just because I feel like I should, but I have actually found that I really enjoy doing videos on YouTube, and with the pandemic and everything, I really feel like it's the perfect time to just start doing it because there's nothing really else for me to do. Like I said in my last video, I'm not working. I'm just really trying to occupy my time, and I feel like I have a lot to talk about because there's been a lot that's happened in the past, 3 years. I got together with a guy from my past. We dated for about 3 years, and then I broke up with him. So basically, as you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about the realism of being in an emotionally abusive relationship, because sadly that is what I was in for about 3 years. It was good for about the first 3 months because we were long distance, and then I went to visit him, and then the fight started, the argument started, and I really started to lose myself. And I'm just now getting back into being who I've always wanted to be, and I just feel like a lot of people don't really see the full effect on themselves until after the fact. And so I really want to talk about what I experienced, why I broke up with him, and just basically what you can look out for if you think you may be in an emotionally abusive relationship. And I say emotionally abusive because, there's physical and then there's emotional. We never laid our hands on each other, but there was this one time where he was being very verbal towards me, and I felt it was like a knee-jerk reaction. I slapped him because he thought I wanted attention from other guys, and I was like, I literally had no idea what to say, and we were in the heat of the moment, and I slapped him, and I immediately regretted it. I really hope that this light from my ring light doesn't really bother anyone. It's kind of bothering me, so I think, nope, I really need that back on. I can't see. So after I slapped him, I vowed to never touch him again. I did not want to be in that type of relationship at all. And so that only ever happened once, and that was about maybe a year into our relationship, and it never happened again, and he never laid his hands on me, thank God. What I really want to talk about is from the very beginning, what I've noticed and what I've found out after breaking up with him, and how long this abuse actually went on, because in the beginning you may not really realize it, and I didn't. My mom, on the other hand, did, but I would just brush it off oh, it's just who he is, he has anger issues, blah 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 blah, done deal. But in reality, I was just making excuses for his behavior, and he knew that he had anger issues. He told me he did, and his excuse was, oh, it runs in the family, you hang out with my family and my mom, you'll see it too. It's that's not normal. You shouldn't be that way, and you shouldn't just accept that you are that way. It's something that you really should change about yourself, because in reality, that doesn't really give your life, you can't really enjoy your life to the fullest, and you can't have a good relationship if you know that you have aspects that you should change. Basically, from the very beginning, I didn't even realize that from our very first encounter, he was manipulating me into thinking that I was special and that I was what he wanted, that he broke up with his ex-girlfriend so that he could be with me, and in reality, he doesn't know, but I found out that that wasn't true. And his ex-girlfriend and I are actually really good friends now. And we have very, very similar experiences with him, and it's really, really sad. He told me the same thing he told her, to basically grasp us into his life, reel us in, and we didn't think twice of it because we were feeling special, like we were the only people in his life that he wanted, and it was just a really, really sad situation that we got ourselves in. And hopefully in the near future, I'm actually going to be meeting up with her, and we're going to be making a video on our experiences together and how similar they are when we didn't even know each other. And it was literally like both of us had 3 years with him, both of us broke up with him, and it's just mind-boggling. Like, after the fact, and I like reached out to her, and I really wanted to know how their relationship was and to see how similar it was to ours. I was baffled, to say the least. My handy dandy notebook again. I kind of just jotted down some things that I thought about when thinking about this relationship. And I'm just gonna go through them and basically just let my mind wander and let my mind really, really unscripted tell you in like real time. Like, I just really never thought I would be in this type of situation, and it's just really, really sad. And oh my god, I'm getting emotional because pregnancy hormones. Okay, let's just get started, shall we? I already touched up on my first jot, but basically they'll make you feel special. And even from the very beginning, he told me, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend yesterday, and I haven't been able to keep you off my mind for months now, ever since we talked that one day back in September, and we started talking in January. So for like, what, 3 months he hadn't been able to keep me off his mind, and you know, I was like, oh, that's so sweet, and like, you know, I felt special. And instantly, from the beginning, he had me under his grasp, and from that moment on, it was really just history from then. I had this really, really big crush on him back in sophomore year of high school when he was a senior, and I didn't get my chance then. So I felt that this was really that like chance that I didn't get, and he was giving me that chance now, and so I was about to take it, and I did. And 3 years later, it didn't pan out like I expected it to. So my next note says one-sided gaslighting arguments. I guess I learned how to word things in order to not upset him. But in the beginning, my wording wasn't as great, and I would let my emotions get the best of me, and we would have arguments for hours, sometimes even a couple days at the most, and he would tell me things like, oh, you did this and that's why I'm upset, and you know, if you didn't do this, I wouldn't be mad. And basically, if you don't know what gaslighting is, here's the definition. I had to look it up to make sure I was using the right wording, and in reality, he would gaslight me to the point of like, even if I didn't even start the argument, even if I didn't do something that was even worth him getting mad over, I would think, oh, maybe like if I didn't do that, then we wouldn't be in this situation, or maybe if I had, you know, just said I'm sorry in the beginning, then this wouldn't have happened. But like in reality, I wouldn't do anything that wasn't normal in a new relationship. We were still getting to know each other and living in a very crowded room with 2 cats, my dog, and 2 humans. Like, it was a tough start to our relationship, and just the whole stress of it, everything that had to do with us starting our relationship off on the wrong start, it just kept going from there, and it caused a lot of arguments. I don't think I've ever had so many fights in a relationship before. Granted, I've never been in a 3-year-long relationship before this one. You learn and you move on. And so I learned from all of the gaslighting that he would throw my way. I would learn how to word things very precisely. I would make sure not to cuss. I would make sure to speak calmly even when he would go off the rails. I would just do little things like that to make sure that I wasn't upsetting him more. And even when I would do that, sometimes it wouldn't help, and he would still get upset, and things would still escalate. And I just felt like so defeated that I just didn't really know what to do in the end. Kind of going off of the gaslighting thing, he would manipulate me into thinking that what I did was actually wrong. Or even if I didn't do anything wrong, because I don't really think after going through this experience that you can do anything wrong in a relationship in forms of saying something. I'm talking about small things, okay? Let's just be specific. Like, I'm talking about small things. Like, just saying, I can't really think of an example right now, but like, there were a lot of times where I may have said something so small that it would just trigger him, and I wouldn't even realize it. But he would go off of that and manipulate me into thinking that what I said was the reason why we were in the situation. And he would make me think that I needed to apologize, that it was all my fault. And in reality, it wasn't. Like, even if I were to have said something that made him feel bad, okay, I get that. Like, I get that people say things they don't mean or that trigger someone, and really all you have to do is say sorry. But in this relationship, that could have changed so many arguments. It could have stopped so many arguments, but it was him going off, escalating things, even when I would keep it calm. Like, there were points where I would have to mute my messages because I was at work. So many fights happened while I was at work, and he was at work, or whatever the case may have been. I couldn't do my job. I couldn't focus. Because all I was thinking about is, what can I say next? Or should I even open this message? Has he messaged me back? What is he gonna say? Is he gonna yell at me some more? Like, etc., etc. And just all of these things that would run through my mind and would cause me to not be able to work very well. And I'm a valet attendant, so like, being very precise and customer service and being able to put on a smile is very, very important in my line of work. And when I couldn't focus on just the little things like that and just like keeping a face, it got really hard sometimes, where I would have to mute my messages so that I wasn't compelled to continue to check my phone to see if there was a notification. I guess I'm just kind of like going off of the last couple of notes too with this, but I wrote down specifically getting upset at little things you do without thinking reasonably about the situation. And with that, like I said, with the little things, saying something so small that may not even be worth an argument can become an argument for hours, and then it will just go off of that, and another thing will come up, and another thing will come up, and just it's a domino effect, I swear. Because even when I felt like the argument could have been over, he would bring up something else that made me think of something that I was doing wrong. Something not even related to the original argument topic. And then that would cause a new argument, and it would just escalate from there. Like I said in the beginning of this video, he knew the whole time he had anger issues. He said that to me many, many times. But he would not seek help. And personally, it's not a sign of defeat. Like, you shouldn't feel defeated for needing help for something that isn't under your control. But when you just accept that's how you are, but it causes huge problems in your life, I just don't understand. That part I just don't understand. I personally just think that it was his excuse. Like, if I don't seek help, then I have this excuse for getting upset at her type deal. Like, that may not have been the case, but I have depression, I have anxiety, I go to therapy, or I have gone to therapy in the past, and it's helped me so much. I know how to cope, I know how to, do certain things, even taking all of the psychology classes that I have taken because I want to be a psychologist in the future. All of it has helped me in my personal life. Just knowing the difference between bipolar, depression, anxiety, from an outsider's standpoint, helps me a lot. I get confused when I would even beg him to seek help because it was causing so many problems in our relationship, and I was the one going to therapy for my little issues like depression, and then when I started having anxiety, I went for that, and I just didn't understand. Like, I mean, it may not be an easy task, but it can help a lot, and if you really care about the relationship that you're in, why is that such a huge problem? Like, that part I just never understood, and my only thinking reason for it is he just enjoyed having that excuse for getting upset at the little things and just, oh, I have anger issues. I'll just brush it off, like, it's just who I am. It's like, it doesn't have to be. Now, moving on to the next one is completely, distant from the last few notes, but not taking into consideration your feelings and problems that you were having. I always felt like his emotions, his anger issue problem was always more important than anything that was going on with me. Wanted me to pay more attention to him. And it was really hard for him, at least in the later last year and a half of our relationship, he always would try and pull back a situation on him. And even if I would bring something up, say in an argument specifically, trying to make him understand that this is how I was feeling about what we were talking about, or this is how I was feeling in general, he would turn it around and be like, well, I'm the one upset, I'm the one that's being affected by this because you did this, and that type of thing, I guess. I don't really have a lot to elaborate on that, I guess. It's just something smaller in the relationship that I experienced, I guess. A very big one, and this one's gonna be kind of hard to talk about. I'm already feeling emotional about it, but my mom is my best friend. I moved away from her to be with this guy. It was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life at that point. And I made the decision to move sooner than I wanted because of some things that were brought up when I went to visit him the first time. And he, I don't think, trusted me to be that far away from him because of the people that I was around, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. And I came up with an excuse to tell my mom that I needed to move sooner, or I wanted to move sooner. And my mom and my relationship got really, really rocky for a little bit because of this guy. And whenever he would come up in a conversation, I was always making excuses for anything because I thought it would make him happy if I just went along with whatever like he wanted me to go along with, or just anything for him to make him happy, and pushing my happiness and my feelings aside, or telling myself that if I do this and it makes him happy, then you'll be happy, right? Wrong. But there were a lot of situations where I was finding myself making excuses for his behavior, or something that he told me on the side that he wanted me to do something about in front of other people, specifically my mom. Like, my mom and I would go camping every single year when I was younger. I love camping. Camping is one of my mom and I's like favorite things to do together. And when my mom got a boyfriend for the first time in like my entire life, they had this whole trip planned for us four to go to Lake Tahoe and camp for 3 days. Yeah, for 3 days. Was it 3 days? Maybe it was 5 days. 3 or 5 days. And, you know, I was so excited. I missed my mom. It was going to be the first time I'd seen her since I moved. No, that's a lie. Because I had my surgery and she came for that. So it was the first time I'd seen her in like 8 months. That's still a long time for us. And when we went to go see her, like, he was just unhappy the whole time. My mom could see it. My mom could see the difference in me, how I would act, how I would treat him, how he would treat me. Our interactions were so passive, as if I was constantly walking on eggshells, constantly trying to ensure his happiness, because I just knew that he didn't want to be there. But we were kind of stuck. And so sometimes I would be like, oh, do you want to go on a drive? Want to go adventure off together? Like, kind of be romantic. And, you know, we had like one instance where it was just like super, super fun, and we found this really like awesome little cliff area that we went to, and we just kind of like looked over on the lake, and it was really, really pretty. But I felt that every single time we would go somewhere, just anywhere away from home, and I get he's very introverted, but he cared more about going back to his cats, which we had someone to take care of them for the entire time that we were camping, and we bought a nest cam specifically to watch over them. Like, everything should have been fine. It's not like we had a dog at home who was home for hours and hours on end. They were cats. They're used to being home alone for hours and hours on end. And he was just always so concerned with getting home to them. You know, just anything to get home to them. And it just caused such, I don't know, stress in the whole situation. Like, we're supposed to be having fun. I get that animals are amazing. I love those cats. I miss them every single day. But we were gone for 5 days. He knew we were gonna be back. It's not like they were gonna die. Like, I was right there. It was the difference between they are fine. They have someone watching over them, staying the night at our house. You can watch them on the Nest Cam. Versus, I'm right here. If you want to be part of my family, and I want to be part of yours, like, this is my mom, this is her boyfriend, this is me, this is my family. We're supposed to be here enjoying ourselves. And your mind is just elsewhere. And so, because of this, there was like an uncertainty with his job, which in the end we knew was going to be okay. But because of this, I made an excuse to my mom saying he just got an email saying that his job's gonna let him go, or that they don't know if they're gonna continue the contract with Facebook. Something serious. But me and him knew that it wasn't as serious as I was making it out to be, so that we could go home 1 day early. And I do believe in karma. And that 1 day early caused us to get into a hit and run accident. And luckily the car was fine that day. 5 days later it wasn't so fine. But if we didn't leave that day to get home to cats that were fine, we wouldn't have gotten into that car accident. I would have gotten 1 more day with my mom, but that's life, I guess. That was my life at that time. And luckily I got to see my mom like a week or 2 later for Father's Day, and we got to go camping again for an entire weekend, and that really made up for the time that I felt like I lost, or that I was distracted, or, you know, whatever the case may have been, and how I was feeling. Making excuses for him was part of my life. Towards the end of the relationship, when I was starting to realize that I felt like I was missing out on a lot of things, I'm living in the Bay Area, and every single day I would go to work, come home, smoke, and go to bed, and do it all over, 5 days a week. And even on the weekends, we would just stay home all day and not do anything. There were maybe the occasional, like, oh, let's go to the bar. But I would always try and just, like, get him to... We lived right across the street from a cute little park with a lot of grass. It was very beautiful. And I would even try and, like, get him to go on a picnic with me. Something so cute, something to get out of the house for even an hour or 2. It was like pulling teeth. All he wanted to do was get up, smoke, eat, play video games, and I would just have to find my own entertainment. It's like we live together, and I feel like I don't even get to spend time with you. Oh, come out to the living room and sit on the couch while you're still playing video games? Yeah, that's fun. And it wasn't just like him playing video games. It was, even if I was in the room, I could hear him yelling at whoever he was playing with, because video games got him so worked up. And because he would play like multiplayer games with like other people, and he let his anger issues get the best of him, and it was just yelling, constant yelling. And so I just felt, you know what, if that's what he wants to do with his time, that's fine. I'm gonna go find my own entertainment. And so I think this was like maybe 3 weeks or so before I broke up with him. I asked one of my friends at work if she wanted to hang out after work. And so, you know, she picked me up. We went on a drive to this really pretty, like, overlook area that you could, like, see, like, almost all of the bay, just pretty lights at night. And, you know, we blunt and we were smoking it, and then sadly there was like a bench, but we couldn't sit on it because there were 2 people already sitting on it. So we're like, you know what, it's fine, we can just sit in the car, we can, you know, face the whole overlook and whatnot. And almost the whole time I was with her, he was like asking me when I was going to be home. You know, I hope you're having fun, but like, when are you going to be home? Let me know when you're going to be, like, just, like, that's all he was worried about. Not, hey, are you having fun? Like, send me pictures and blah, 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 blah. So, like, I just felt, you know, I'll send him a picture. Like, this is actually really, really pretty. I was enjoying myself. And I sent him a picture of the overlook, all of the lights and everything, and the bench with the 2 people were in it because they were kind of in the way of the whole view. And I don't think I said anything with the picture, I just kind of sent the picture, and all he had to respond was, who are those 2 people on the bench? I don't know, like, they're just 2 random people. I tell you, I'm with one person and she's a girl. I have never ever lied to him about who I was hanging out with, because like I would never hang out with anyone. I was always just like wanting to hang out with him because even though we lived together, saw each other every day, I felt like I didn't get to hang out with him all that often because all I wanted to do if he wasn't working was play video games or smoke. Like, I just never understood that, and that's when I realized, like, okay, this is the type of relationship I really don't want to be in anymore. And so that was like my last straw, I guess, and I had started making a plan to break up with him. I guess I can wrap this up with when I broke up with him. I did something that, you know, I regret, but if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have really known if what I was doing was for the better of me. And so, with my current boyfriend, I cheated on my ex-boyfriend. And it wasn't anything more than a kiss, but that kiss, let me tell you, sparks flew, man. I hadn't felt that type of way since probably the first year of me being with my ex-boyfriend. And once that happened, I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I need to do. I may not have wanted to do it because I really don't like hurting people, especially in that way. Like, it's not like I didn't love him anymore. Like, I cared for him even through the next, like, month that I was living with him, just trying to, like, get my own place, trying to see if we can just cohabit the same apartment while one of us was on the couch and one of us was in the bed. It was getting hot in here. It was just incredibly hard, to say the least. I cheated on him about 4 days before I actually broke up with him, and when I broke up with him, that was probably one of the hardest nights. And he even continued to try and manipulate me, or at least I felt like he was when I was like trying to break up with him. Why is the ice cream truck out at 8 p.m. at night? The night that I broke up with him, it seemed, because I had this all planned out, and without my mom and my current boyfriend like helping me, like emotionally supporting me and telling me that everything's gonna be okay and telling me that it was either you don't hurt him now or ever and you stay in this relationship and you're unhappy for the rest of your life, or you hurt him now and he will move on and you will be happy finally. And hey, that's what happened, honestly. Like, I have never been happier. Like, I have a baby girl on the way, I'm with an amazing guy who will literally like bend over backwards for me, which I've never ever had in my entire life. I took the plunge and I broke up with him after work on a Monday. I remember it so vividly. We were sitting on the bed and we both started crying, man. Like, this wasn't easy for me either. Like, I hate change. I hate trying to, like, or I hate hurting people in general. And so when I told him, like, I'm sorry, but this is over. Like, I'm not happy. This is not going anywhere. And I remember him bringing up the fact that, like, the reason why he plays so much video games is because he's really depressed. Which, okay, I get some people use, you know, different coping mechanisms to, like, stay distracted or do whatever, but, like, I'm here too for support, you know. Like, I just went through something very traumatic. I started having anxiety not too long before this, and I reached out to him to help me because I knew that he had experience with a lot of anxiety, and I didn't. So I felt like he could have done the same thing. Like, he's dealing with apparently pretty bad depression enough to where he's ignoring his girlfriend and diving deep into some video games with other people. That was another thing. It's not just like he was playing video games by himself. He would play video games with people online. So I felt like he was also ignoring me for other people that he's never even met before. And he never once brought it up. Never once. And he told me the reason why is because he didn't want to put so much on me because I was still dealing with my anxiety, that he felt like it would push me away, and all of these excuses as to why he didn't tell me. And, you know, I accepted them all. You know, I accepted everything that he told me, but I couldn't accept the fact that he was telling me this now. On the night that I was breaking up with him, like, for real, because we'd had, I think this was like the third time that I brought up, like, breaking up with him, but this was, like, real. This wasn't just like, if we don't fix these things, then I'm gonna break up with you. No, this was a complete, like, there's no fixing this. I need to be single right now. Like, I need to do what I want to do, because I'm not happy right now, and I feel like I'm being dragged down by someone who just wants to play video games all day and ignore me and yell at me and not, you know, pay attention to what I need or even trust me enough to tell me that you're dealing with depression. I felt bad, and I feel like that's exactly what he wanted me to feel. But it also wasn't fair to me that he was like maybe he wasn't trying to manipulate me, but with our past and every single time I would bring up breaking up with him and things that we needed to change and whatnot, it was always, you know, I'll fix this, I'll fix that. And mind you, a month, not even a month, because it was on New Year's Eve, that I had brought up to him before that I was feeling that I wanted to enjoy being in a relationship but living on my own. Like, I kind of wanted to move out, but I didn't want to tell him, like, I want to move out and break up. I told him I wanted to move out and still be in a relationship because we never got that type of relationship. You know, like, because I moved from North Dakota right in with him. I didn't move into my own apartment. We never got that, like, oh, I'll see you tomorrow type thing. No, it's like, okay, good night, I'll see you in the morning from day one. And I knew that was gonna bite us in the butt in the end, but I didn't think that it would actually take this big of a toll on me. Like, I thought I would get over it. I thought that it would be like, you know, okay. But it really just wasn't. It was just talk. Trying to manipulate me to stay or to change my mind, and it worked. And I would always get like these like deep down pit feelings, like something was wrong or something just wasn't right for me. And usually when we would have these talks and get everything out in the open, I would feel better. And we did this, or this happened maybe 2 times before, and each time, those 2 times, I was good. You know, things went right back to, you know, like being happy and feeling better. And when this last time happened, it lasted less than a month. And so also with that, I was like, okay, that says something. And I wasn't seeking anything. I wasn't trying to be with anyone else. Like, I really wasn't. I was just trying to be myself. I was just trying to find something that would make me happy. And that turned out to be someone else. And honestly, like, I never ever once wanted to cheat on anyone. And I've done it twice in my life now. The first time I was a naive little 17-year-old girl. I went to a party with drinking and things got out of hand and I fessed up the next day. With this, I've never actually once told my ex-boyfriend that I cheated on him. If he sees this, yes, I cheated on you and I am sorry. But what I'm about to say is not a defense. It's not an excuse as to why I did it. Cheating is wrong. And I actually just had this talk with my boyfriend about this. Like, do you feel bad about, like, what we did? The, like, mere small kiss that caused all of this. No, not caused, but, like, led to us being together, having a family, and, like, just going in a different path. And he says, yeah, 100%, like, I feel bad for what we did, but it's in the past, and we can't change it, and I'm just grateful for what we have now. And I agree, 100%. But I guess one thing that I do have to say about it is cheating is wrong, but in my situation, cheating led to me really pushing myself to get out of a situation that changed me completely. Like, I used to be this really, really outgoing girl who loved to sing, like, all day, every day, and I had turned into this girl who was so content with just trying to get any attention out of this one guy that I lived with and just getting pushed to the side because video games were more important. And I wasn't this center of attention, and not like I really wanted to be, but when you're in a relationship and you spend more time on video games with people online that you've never met, that can kind of get to someone. And so I know I'll probably get backlash for saying, like, you know, I cheated, you know, in this situation, like, the cheating ended up being, like, a good thing, and it's not like I had intentions of cheating and then staying with him. Like, I would have hated myself for that. But I cheated, and it helped me realize that what I was currently in, the relationship that I was in, was not right whatsoever. And I guess I kind of knew that for a while, but something just clicked in me. And I had the courage to get out, and that I do not regret. Because if I never got out, I felt really stuck, and I would have still been stuck. And so I guess I'll leave this video here and leave y'all with just this one piece of advice. From my experience, don't ever, ever make excuses for someone else's behavior. That is probably the one thing that I regret in my entire 3-year-long relationship with him. Especially to my mom, because she knew. She knew the whole time that he was not a good guy. He was not the right one for me, and I just didn't want to believe her because I was so totally in love with him. But love does not equal happiness. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Maybe not enjoyed, but are able to learn something. Maybe if you're in an abusive relationship, whether it be physical or emotional, because I feel like being in an emotional relationship is so much harder to deal with, I guess, or realize that you're in one. While as being in a physical relationship, you have the bruises to show, and you're always hiding them, and like, but in either way, it's really hard to get away. And it took me a very long time to get out of something that I knew wasn't good for me, that I knew I wasn't happy in, and all I can say is I got out. Also, reach out to friends, family, and if that's too hard because you don't want them to know, my socials will be down below. And I hope that even just talking to a complete stranger, because I know that may be easier, I'm here.